Hey friends, what's up? Phillip here with Points with Phillip, and I actually wanted to flip the script a little bit and talk to you about a debit card. Now, the big question is, am I crazy for actually suggesting a debit card? But this one debit card is actually really compelling, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. But before we get into that, go ahead and like and subscribe. I really enjoy talking about points and miles and how you can use those points and miles to travel more and travel really well. And well, I really would like to know if what I'm doing is helpful to you. So you liking and subscribing helps me and YouTube know that, well, I should keep going. So thanks so much for doing that. But now that that's done, let's get into the PayPal debit card. And so you've seen a couple people talk about this so far, and it's upside down. Now the PayPal debit card, other than looking really pretty and really blue, is a really interesting card. So first of all, because it's a debit card, there's no annual fee, right? There's no annual fee to talk about, but there's also no real credit check. You don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to be approved, right? Because it's a debit card that's associated with your PayPal balance. Now, the most intriguing thing about this card, and the reason why I'm talking about it, is because you get 5% cash back on your selected spend category for the month. Now, there are no other multipliers, so it's either 5% on your selected category or nothing, right? But you're still able to spend on it, right? Because it's a MasterCard, you can spend on it wherever. Now, PayPal also has an interesting rewards program that's similar to Rakuten or Capital One offers, and this allows you to stack up. So if you have some, if you have shopping as your category, you can get 5%. But also, some manufacturers or some shops allow you to, double stack extra bonuses, so you can actually increased earnings, at least according to PayPal. So you can double stack that. So that can be helpful too. Now, there is also a PayPal credit card. It's less compelling, but we'll talk about it later. But kind of the key thing here is PayPal. Now, interestingly enough, there's also a sign-up bonus. Now, there isn't normally a sign-up bonus with this debit card, and there's not usually a sign-up bonus with most debit cards. I know there's checking account bonuses, things like that. Now, you can also get a special $50 bonus as well when you enact direct deposit and actually successfully direct deposit into your PayPal balance. So there's a couple different options here. So you can get some really great money right now by using that referral link to open this card and help start saving today. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's get into the reason why you would want to do that other than, right, the sign up bonus. So this gets 5% cash back. Now that is on the first $1,000 in spend per month. And it has to be on select categories, and you have to actually choose that category before you make the purchases. So the possible categories to select are restaurants, apparel, fuel, groceries, and rideshare and transit. So rideshare and transit are mixed together. So that's really interesting because there's a lot of really interesting categories here. So the three that are most intriguing to me are going to be the restaurants, the fuel, or the groceries. And so the most interesting to me, at least that I've seen so far, is the groceries, because this grocery category appears to include Walmart, Costco, Sam's, and other big box retailers. Now, according to data points on Reddit, it has been kind of overwhelmingly successful. Now, there are some people that are saying that this card has not gotten 5% back at Walmart, but there's also a decent amount of people that are saying that it has. So it appears that it's an accepted use of the card to get 5% back on those stores. And so this is really great, but you say, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, hold up, this is a MasterCard. What are you doing using 5% back at Costco? Because Costco requires Visa, right? Now that's true, but it's only applicable to credit cards. So Visa, if you're using a credit card at Costco, it has to be Visa. However, there is no similar requirement for debit cards. So because of the debit card, you can actually use it for Costco in the grocery category, even though the fact that it's a MasterCard. So that's really intriguing, right? So very few cards actually get you 5% back at Publix, right? At Walmart, at Target, at Costco, right? And this one doesn't. Now, of course, it's only on $1,000 a month in spend, but, I'm sure most people probably don't go over that amount in their grocery spending. And so that could be quite interesting. Now, again, there's no credit check because it's a debit card, so that's really important to know as well. Now, how does the debit part of this card work? And so this is actually a little bit better, in my opinion, than having access to like a regular debit card. So a lot of people on YouTube will say spending money on a debit card is considered more high risk. And the reason why that is because this debit card is spending your money, right? And so basically, if something were to happen, if you were to lose this and someone were to steal it, make purchases on it, might be harder to get that money back. Whereas if you're using a credit card, at least a personal credit card, it's a little bit easier to get that money back because it's not actually your money, it's the bank's money, and they're really motivated to track that down. And so that can be kind of the reason why we talk about not wanting to use debit cards. However, this card directly pulls from your PayPal balance. It doesn't pull from your checking account directly. It's only exposed to your PayPal balance. And so if you don't have anything more than what you intend to spend on your PayPal balance, and you lose this card, then people aren't going to have access to any more money than that. And so there is kind of a little security measure in there that's kind of built in, which, well, it's kind of helpful, right? You can also use direct deposit to work directly into your PayPal balance. And so you can actually use this debit card and your PayPal balance as a checking account. In fact, you actually have access to MoneyPass ATMs with this card as well. And that can be really kind of helpful, right? So you can use this as a checking account, although that kind of gets rid of that added security that we just talked about. So I think the better play would be just to have a quarterback checking account, and you just use this as spending in whatever the category is that you pick for that month. If you are team cashback, and so this is a straight cashback play, right? There's no points conversions to transfer out to partners and things like that. Now, the rewards hit your PayPal balance at the end of the month. So whenever you pay, you get that 5% back. It comes in at the end of the month, meaning that you can do whatever you like. So because it's in your PayPal balance, you can send it to friends, you can send it to yourself, you can use it to pay for other things directly from your PayPal balance. And so that can be pretty helpful, right? Now, you can also use your rewards to buy crypto through PayPal, but if you are interested in owning crypto, I think there are some better ways to do it, some more cost-effective ways to do it that are a little bit more secure. And that can be another video. If you're interested in that, let me know. But anyway, let's take a look at PayPal offers. So I compared it to Rakuten and to Capital One offers a little bit. Now, PayPal offers, it functions like a shopping portal where you get access to special cashback multipliers and coupons. Now, here's the thing, you actually have to go through it, and you actually have to save each of the offers before you use it in order to get that savings. Now, right now, the top orders that I'm seeing, there's a 30% cash back on Instacart orders, which can be helpful if you're doing a grocery spend. So you get 5% on grocery, an additional 30% on Instacart. So a grand total of 35% back on that purchase, and that can be really helpful. There's also Eddie Bauer and Hobby Lobby. Eddie Bauer is a 10% cash back and a 5% cash back for Hobby Lobby. That seems a little high. So if you have apparel, so you could have 10% cash back for Eddie Bauer, another 5% back from using this card in that apparel category could get you 15% cash back. So it is interesting, but there's some hoops to jump through. But as long as you're familiar with how to jump through them and how to benefit that, then it could be quite helpful for you. So now let's talk about the credit card too. I talked about it a little bit at the start of the video. It has no annual fee, first of all, and it gives you 3% back when you pay through PayPal. Now, there are some manufacturers or some stores that allow you to pay through PayPal, and so that can be helpful, but it also gets you 1.5% cash back on any other purchase. And so this can act as a catch-all. It's very similar to how the Capital One Quicksilver works, or say the Chase Freedom Unlimited works. And so it gives you 1.5% cash back, which necessarily isn't the best as far as the market currently trends, but if you're interested in something that has no annual fee and gets you 1.5% cash back, it's there, and then 3% in certain categories, right? Now, there's an easy pre-approval tool online as well, so you can actually check to see if you're pre-approved for this credit card before it doesn't hit your account if you're declined for the card. So that can be helpful. And also PayPal says that there's usually, in most cases, a temporary credit line that's available immediately if you are approved for the card. And so if you're someone that needs to spend something soon, then that can be helpful. Now, is there anything that's similar to the PayPal debit card? Now, it kind of is. So Target has a Circle debit card, and that earns 5% cash back on all Target purchases. And so This one is interesting. So first of all, it has no caps, right? So there's not that $1,000 limit of caps if you have the Target Circle card. And that also qualifies you just for holding the card for free 2-day shipping on a lot of items. It says thousands of items. So I haven't really tried it myself, but it seems like whenever I want something that's shipped, it tends to be on that list. So that can be really helpful. Now, it also pulls money for purchases directly from your linked checking account. And so if you use that Target Circle debit card, it's coming from your checking account directly, which means if you lose it, people could have access to what's available in your checking account. So that can be kind of stressful if you're worried about those things. So now you also get 5% cash back on some gift cards in the store, and you also get 5% cash back at Starbucks purchases in stores. So in Target, where they have the little Starbucks, you can use your Target Circle debit card and get 5% cash back there as well. And so it is kind of interesting. It's an interesting option. Now, the thing is, the PayPal debit card is much more widespread because you can use it to get that 5% cash back in a lot of different ways and areas. And you can kind of change how you use which category you want to use from month to month. So if you know that, say, back to school season is coming up and you know you're going to be buying some more clothes, you can make apparel your main category and you get 5% back on that purchase. And so, it's nice that it kind of evolves with, what you are and what you're trying to purchase at any given month. And so that could be helpful. Now, this card here, the debit card, is for anyone who's trying to maximize their purchases in certain specific categories. Now, so 5% back in some decent categories that most people try to optimize is pretty helpful, right? So also this card is for anyone who's trying to optimize or who's careful about managing their 524 status with Chase. So let's say that you want to get another 5% cashback card, but well, you are, at 524, you're trying to get to 524, then maybe you pick up this card and you still get to have your cake and eat it too, right? You get the cash back, but you don't have to worry about getting a new trade line added to your credit history. Now, anyone also who might not have the best credit and is worried about getting approved for a credit card in the first place, this can help you start the cycle of actually getting some rewards for your spending. So that can be really helpful as well. So anyway, that's kind of the PayPal debit card. Don't forget there's a referral link in the description below. And I hope that this works for you because, well, I've tried it for the last couple months and it's gotten some pretty good use out of it for me. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me once again, and I can't wait to see you until next time. Bye.